Tune in to Sports Talk Texas, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Texas time.
Second Rangers home run of the night. Parsons sack, fumble, it's loose.
I'd do anything known to man to get in a Super Bowl.
Still. I'm mad at State. Ohio State is the only team to do it in what, 10 years?
But the fact that Oregon is undefeated is impressive in and of itself. And they're not being a man who brags about it. So I will say he's a proud man.
Proud man.
Yeah, don't brag about him. He's a proud man.
Proud of my coach.
When I got my manager in the chair, laid back, getting a shave. He's solid. He must agree with that.
Proud of my coach. Guys changed the culture. He's changed the.
He's better than Chip Kelly?
I think Chip Kelly was an innovator, and I think he did something at Oregon in that the early part of 2010 that very few people had ever seen. Obviously, it's something that's implemented now pretty much across the country. Okay, nobody really runs the tempo anymore, but that a play every 8 seconds. But he changed, that spread offense, kind of popularized that option play, right?
RPO?
Yeah, the RPO, the running quarterback, the athletes all over the field type of thing. And now I think you're realizing that you look at Michigan last year. Michigan last year was as close to a traditional SEC team as we've had in a long time. Good quarterback, but really focused on defense and running, right? And look at what Dan Lanning's building in Oregon. It's kind of a combination of the two.
I can see that.
Power stretches. You're recruiting offensive and defensive linemen that are way better than Oregon's ever recruited before. Running game is still the focal point of your offense, but you have a dynamic signal caller.
Okay, so
It's a combination of the old school, Nebraska, Iowa, 2 yards in a cloud of dust, and Kelly's, I'm going to say, spread blur offense. You have to have both.
okay.
You man, what an introduction.
What
a great dialogue. I had to turn down everything to make sure that everyone heard the beautiful, the voice, and delivery, and dialogue.
However, the train came through Ann Arbor.
Oh my God, bro! Listen,
And even on the touchdown that should not have been, it had to follow up the very short gifted field that Michigan was doing. So we'll say that the score, we'll say that the score was equal. They followed the ball on the 15-yard line and made Davis Warren look like a Heisman caliber quarterback.
he's potential. He's got the potential.
Why are you not running Orgy?
Man, Orgy don't have an arm, bro.
I haven't watched him play.
Where did you see that?
He has no arm anymore.
Get it on?
He has spaghetti arms. He's small. He's fast. He's small. Yes.
It's accurate, though.
I don't know. Only say he's accurate, but he doesn't have a strong one. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a lot going on.
Well, from the stats that they showed, the completion rating was a little high, but it's
We have the ball every time with him back there. We pass it with the team, and he only completed three of his tasks.
So how does a program like Michigan have a hard time recruiting quarterbacks?
I don't think it's a hard time to do quarterbacks. I do think that we have our ups and downs, but Michigan we usually have quarterbacks, competent quarterbacks. Now,
And that's what I'm saying is this time is you have Davis Warren, you have Orgy, and you have Tuttle until the time.
you think any of those guys? I don't think any of those guys were recruited by the man as well.
No.
Not wholeheartedly. So, it's not just our brain. You have to have a close to one, if you want to play for, you know what I'm saying? So I got to look at it like that too. I think that this is probably we have on that if they were to leave, but we got to wait to get more of them or if you around.
I think the expectation on college football teams nowadays is too much. Everybody expects that you're going to be able to replicate what Nick Saban was able to do for those decades at Alabama, which is just this consistent level of excellence where if you lost one game, it was headline news. And most, Michigan last year didn't lose a game. And the expectation on Michigan is it's almost like you're not supposed to miss a beat.
You think so?
I think that's the expectation. That's the expectation on college football.
I can see that he set the standard, the new standard.
The standard is that teams like you're the national champion. You're never supposed to have a down year. And it's like the reason I think you see it more. We'll look at last year's Washington team,
Right.
and how many super seniors returned. You had Michael Penix Jr., you had Roman Dunze,
29-year-old.
you had Braylon Trice. We had a lot of these guys that Caleb Moore was able to get to come back. Because really that team with a lot of those players, those guys were all NFL bound. And you got them to buy back into your university and come back. A lot of the best teams in college football now have the guys who aren't opting out of. They're not opting out of their senior year just go straight.
Right.
The best college football teams are the ones that have your seniors, your super seniors, and your productive juniors.
So
Is that
well, I think if you're talking about having seniors, that means that they stay, belong to their team, right? Like team, I think USL or UCF or something like that. You did a couple years ago, and they had like 1 or 2 good seasons.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the expectations of being good every year, right? I think that's too far-fetched because in college, you get 2 good years out of school, and guys can go to the league.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good because everybody's not going to be like say Alabama or even Ohio State or even Oregon. Oregon's one of the schools that's usually top 15.
pretty consistent with recruiting,
Right.
At least since about 2010.
Since 2010.
Since it's 2010. I mean, really, Oregon is a program that's in the eyes of the college football blue bloods is pretty new.
2000.
Okay, they had some good years in 2008. They've had some success, but I'm talking about when they really arrived on the college football scene was about 2010.
Gotcha.
When they
as a notable and rightful key player.
that was the year that Darren Thomas was probably going to win the Heisman Trophy had he not got injured. And that was their first national championship appearance. That Cam Newton Auburn team Cam Newton was a pretty special player in college. I will go to my grave thinking that Michael Dyer's knee was down in that game, and Oregon should have won the national championship that game. But I digress.
When did you graduate?
2015.
Okay.
March 2015.
Yeah.
That makes it seem like I'm younger than I am. It was a few years spent in junior college and trying to figure out what on earth I wanted to do with my life. But I'm going to tell you that 2014 football season was special to be a part of. Yeah, I went back to California for the UCLA game that year. I went to the Rose Bowl that year. I went to every home game, and I went to, I think, 1 or 2 away games, just regular season games. So I saw like 8 or 9 games that team played. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I went up to Corvallis for the beatdown of Oregon State. I think the game that cemented Mariota's Heisman was that game. I think he had like 6 touchdowns. It wasted talent going to the wrong team. I'll argue that with Tennessee, then he went to in Oakland,
Then an Eagle.
then he was an Eagle,
Now
then
he's
Atlanta,
Yeah.
and now
He's still that. Huh?
a good runner, I guess.
well, then when J.D. Daniels went down.
I mean, I don't think he was bad. I agree with you. He was a high guy.
So the problem was
Right. So that's it. Any person who wants to hire the expectation is that's the role.
but look at a lot of them. Like Kyler Murray,
Oh,
Baker Mayfield until like this year.
We talked about that yesterday.
But what I'm saying is Tennessee, this I'm gonna say offensive juggernaut that just churns out. Vince Young went to Tennessee. Vince Young went to Tennessee.
I agree.
Jay Locker went to Tennessee.
I agree with Tennessee. But
So-
he had no teams though, and he did nothing at the end.
The problem was who did. First of all, Tennessee is not, and still is not, the type of team that Mario built to control. They're not a spread offense. Let's throw the ball 35 times a game and give them a pass on it.
Give him the next one.
So the problem was he spent the first 5 years of his career throwing at Corey Gates as his Tajik Delaney.
Yeah.
Hold on, don't do the lane like this.
That's nice.
Delaney was great, but Delaney at the end of his career, his running back was DeMarco Murray at the end of his career after the Cowboys. And Deion Lewis, who was like scat back in New England.
Mhm.
Deion Lewis was not a running back one. And then he had Derrick Henry, but it was Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry was.
Yeah.
It was Derrick Henry when people were running.
They put me in on the other story.
But,
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
uh,
Yes. On there.
Ball head. Yeah.
all he made.
That's a new term, a new phrase.
Can you tell me how it works? Are you getting paid?
Yeah.
You keeping like
Yeah.
yeah. You almost you'll be with a professional.
Yeah.
So
Delaney Walker at the end of his career, he had not Darren McFadden, DeMarco Murray at the end of his career. He had Deion Lewis for a couple of years in there, and then he had Derrick Henry, but it was Derrick Henry before he became King Henry.
yeah.
We're talking
We're talking about Marcus Mariota going to the Tennessee Titans, and that being kind of a waste in terms of just from a scheme standpoint. They did not. Tennessee is not the type of offense he needed to go to.
Okay.
Skill set.
Yeah, for his skill set. That Tennessee tried to be that SEC power running game football team. That's why Vince Young couldn't succeed there. Jay Locker couldn't succeed there. Ryan Tannehill had, a good year and then disappeared. Tennessee is not they're not as bad as Cleveland when it comes to producing quarterbacks, but Tennessee is not a quarterback's dream situation.
I thought he was a good fit for Tennessee. Was he there with A.J. Brown?
No, he was there with Corey Davis. I think A.J. Brown was there like 1 year. But Corey Davis, what happened to Corey Davis after that Tennessee?
He was the Jets.
Who's just looking at my
Yeah.
The Jets.
Oh my God! I see it. I spotted one. Oh my God! What? He's flashing like this.
You're a reclusive species now. That Prescott got the hamstring injury. I heard same thing Devontae Adams got. Like, oh man, I got this hamstring injury.
I heard that he's not hurt. His ego is bruised, and there's no salvation for the rest of the season, so he doesn't want to risk getting hurt. So he has to, and the only thing you cannot, you never escape.
I don't believe it.
So
If that's what he's doing, I don't blame him.
If he on the sideline, his hand was in the middle, all right? He was on his head. It was like his hand there.
Well, Devontae Adams in Oakland or Vegas had that same issue. Oh man, I got this hamstring injury. I'm out for 3 weeks. Next thing you know, trade.
You got trade.
Next thing you know, all these trades come up, and all of a sudden, oh, miraculously, week one, full strength, let's go.
Crazy how that works.
And he has to trade. How about hands? He's like, great. He's like, what is it? That's right. I think hamstrings, we could say hamstrings.
Yeah, Henry, the least thing
You don't want to be seen as the guy that just, oh man, I'm quitting on my team because I don't want to be there. But I'm injured.
He's definitely injured and quitting on his team because he don't want to be there.
And I think if you're Dak Prescott, really, what do you have to play for this season?
Right.
But you also don't want to be, you don't want to get into this world of professional sports where once the team is kind of mathematically eliminated from anything meaningful, that all of a sudden you just pull all your starters for the rest of the year.
which is why so I don't understand why they playing Cooper Rush when they can play Trey Lance. Let him get them. So they say he's not an NFL quarterback because he hasn't shared the amount of reps and game experience. Right? He ain't experienced. So this is a perfect opportunity to develop that.
I don't understand why they rushed Dak Prescott back in Cooper Rush a couple years ago. 5 or 6 and
Oh yes, 4-0, something like that.
Because it wasn't good. Why is it not sustainable? There's a reason he's a career back.
Opportunity to get started.
But I'm sorry, but 4-0 was a pretty good. Was that the year that Philly won the Super Bowl? That like everybody lost to?
No, I
I was just tracking my years.
You know,
I know. You don't got to tell me twice. I'm just waiting for Courtney to go. Hey man, I see some of those Grays coming in.
Well, I started. I don't see it. You fine.
I just tell you to cut them off. To shave your head. Yeah.
So I wanted to get your opinion on.
Said no one. Nobody ever wants.
Yeah, but I want your opinion. So I'm going to have you ever, in your entire life watching football, seen a place like Saquon Barkley? I just had that question.
Yes.
Who and where and when?
But Daniel Tomlinson.
What did he do? He hurt somebody backwards? Okay.
Did he stiff arm people every week into the shadow realm before Derrick Henry did it, despite Derrick Henry being like 50 pounds heavier?
Right. Come on.
We've seen those. We have seen players like Saquon Barkley before.
have we seen him when he did?
That was. But have we ever seen a helmet catch? Have we ever seen? Yes.
That's the point.
Delayed in the time.
It was.
Come on, let's not forget Garrett Wilson. He made a great play on Monday night. Come on, man. We see that.
It was a great catch, though.
Out of the realm of possibility, Odell Beckham can't fight here. That right there.
That's what everybody's trying to get now. They're trying to get that viral catch. So I think you see kids training like those impressive one end catches because they want the notoriety.
What was Saquon? You see the comment by the extra 2 yards? No, So he broke 2 tackles. Well, yeah, that was where he spin.
Real fast, run to the front door, do a spin move, come back without breaking your ankle.
I already he should have been trying to make that jump that hurt. I don't think it was instinctive.
I think if you were this way, it was
Saquon Barkley, the guy that squats like 700 pounds. So didn't Nick Chubb like absolutely destroy his knee, like to the point where people are like, you're not going to be able to walk again, and that man is still taking NFL carries, squat like 600 pounds.
Yeah.
So what I would say is, as a society, we are getting more and more athletic. They're making more and more athletic plays. Kids are being coached at a younger age. They're getting all this.
Okay, so, but that.
But it's a second question. So then I will answer. Okay. Then I will answer. Saquon Barkley made an unbelievably athletic play, but when it comes to the
He
running
said,
back, it's not crazy.
no, sir.
We have seen a lot of Marshawn Lynch. The man was the human.
He'll never do that.
You know, but he did it in different ways.
He didn't do that.
The man created an earthquake.
What do you mean?
The beachquake game.
Come on, man. It's not the same.
Do we want to go pull up the highlight tape of him breaking like 17 tackles on a 70-yard run, coming backwards and grabbing his nuts in the end zone?
We've seen guys break tackles and be strong and run and thunderous. We've seen those things.
So the Cincinnati Bengals got the forward flip over the guys.
That's great. That's great. We don't see that all the time. That's why we'll always see those things. Don't get me wrong, when you talk about Marshawn Lynch, it wasn't just because it was one of those plays where he just was missing the greatest thing. Also, the timing of it. It's in the playoffs. It's against the defending Super Bowl champ. You're in somebody. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just that run. It's a whole bunch more.
Well, you say that we've never seen a player like Saquon Barkley.
We said we had to see him play like get him on that.
Did he not ask me? Have you ever seen a player like Saquon Barkley?
Do that.
No, he said, oh,
Yeah.
that was a freak athletic play.
We gotta watch.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
I've been here.
These were words in the tournament.
He has what I call segmented conversation.
Segmented
I thought we were taking that one.
Hold on.
Roll the tape. I thought we were having this discussion that because Saquon Barkley made that one play that we've never seen a running back.
No.
Okay.
No, never.
That play was freakish. Yeah.
That's not play.
And I would say that if there is anybody in the league who could do it, I would have put a lot of money that was going to be in. I think Saquon Barkley is one of those talents coming out that was maybe pretty dang deserved. I know he's had a few injury growth seasons.
Cowboys thing online.
Oh, look at my finger.
Don't wait.
I'm glad they should have the Eagles more than those here for the Cowboys.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Here we go.
And I want to know that's why.
I just don't like the Cowboys. Even before I moved here, I just didn't like the Cowboys. I apologize. I just didn't like the Cowboys.
I'm personally on Philadelphia.
I am from Los Angeles. I don't generally
have
have
an all Philadelphia team.
How are you?
Philadelphia has the worst fans.
I don't disagree with that. You may call it the worst fan. I call it the best fan.
Yeah.
I'm the inside.
Yeah.
So, just for the sake of just we're gonna do a commercial break real quick. We're gonna be back in a few seconds. I just need to do this real quick. We'll go on.
So, as somebody not from here, what makes Philly fans bad in the eyes of the Dallas Cowboy fan? Because I'll tell you that Los Angeles has the worst sports fans of any. So, are we talking that they?
What's up?
Are we talking like fans? Are we talking that they're the worst fans because they're, I'm going to say, like aggressive and violent? That they don't know their sports. Okay.
I'm talking about that part here.
Okay.
Oh, we're not Jersey in there.
So the opposite. Okay. Because I'm saying I say
A man say he hates the Philadelphia fans. I had to put him out. No, hey, hate the fans, and I thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
It's not the fans per se because they love the team or love the team or they love the sport. It's because of the behavior. Right.
Okay.
As we said, right? Isn't that what you said? Okay.
Well, see, the Northeast is just different in its. People who live in the Northeast are just different.
That's like New York.
Oh, you drive around New York. You drive around New York. Hold on. You speak
they're gonna look at you like you crazy.
Yeah.
But they love you.
And they love their team.
And that's the difference between LA fans and New York fans or Northeast fans.
So I would challenge you in saying that in my opinion, I believe the worst fan base in terms of behavior are the Los Angeles Raiders fans.
Vegas. Oakland Raiders.
I keep on saying
And it's Oakland. It's the Oakland Raiders.
Oakland Raiders fans. They're some good people, right?
No,
You see how they
we're not.
you know what you're getting.
We're not, bro.
Okay.
The new Raiders are not the old Raiders.
Oh no, I agree. I agree with that.
I think Dallas been very sports in theirs.
I think so. I would say so. The real,
Oh, okay. I got you.
yeah, the real ones out there in Philly where they at, they look terrible. Like, man.
So I was at the store. I went to the Eagles and Minnesota Vikings game, and this guy had on his Dante Culpepper routine, right? Like he dressed down, but the guy he didn't tell him his cause. He was acting like an asshole little guy, and the man let him have it. Beer on, popcorn. He got the show man under the other bag. And they ended up having to escort the guy out for his own safety. Yeah. And you know, I think we were one of the only teams that had jail in the state. Yeah. So that's kind of pretty about how we as Philly fans behave based on our team.
But are they like that with the 76ers? Are they like that with the Flyers?
No, I don't think with the Flyers, yes. 76 with the Phillies, absolutely. Yeah.
Hockey, the top grown field, tough guys, you know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, it's such a big deal when football happens. Everybody come out, you know?
I would argue that Philly don't work.
So we're just saying that Philadelphia sports fans are the worst. In terms of behavior.
People been telling me Detroit fans are the worst fans now, bro.
Well, y'all get there.
Damn.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Wow,
Detroit's
bro.
rough city because y'all fan base is not
Thank
as
you, man.
violent as some other.
Thank you, man.
No, this is my explanation why. They haven't had anything to be prideful about in years.
Tell me,
Y'all only have one Super Bowl.
They
were 5 years ago.
tell me. We got a lot of that.
To me, that ain't no excuse for the fucked up. Look at us. I've experienced I was here when we were playing Super Bowls, and it was like a little fucking day. We was taking it, okay? So I've been here for the word days. And if anybody thinks to be fighting right now, this should be our damn fans. It should be our fans. I don't believe in that when it comes to sport, man. You deserve to have this guy represent your team without any physical violence. I think you get different things. And then they go and drink the shit up me, bro.
Are you just hiding the right? Or you just
I don't think it's not. If I'm wearing Cowboys gear, I'm instinct. Okay. And so if you know they're gonna, you don't have to respect me, you're not gonna disrespect me. I'm gonna lay hands on your ass. I'm gonna lay back on you. You know.
Come with it.
Yeah. You're gonna learn. You're not gonna do it again.
You know, it's so like, and we don't have anything to cheer for. We have
No, I'm just talking about the winnings of all.
we have a successful season.
Yeah, that's all. That's it.
It's been about a year.
When was the last time?
It was. I tell people all the time. And if we're successful to, let's say, Pittsburgh Steelers fan day, it's not going to be success to a Detroit fan. You know what I'm saying? A Pittsburgh fan is, at minimum, division title every year. You know what I'm saying? And of course, Super Bowl. That's the big thing. If you're a Carolina fan, are your expectations going to be that? No. You know, you get different expectations. I throw Dallas in there, especially the past couple of years. I think that the Cowboys have strong had success for so long. That they have gotten hungry for future success.
So we've had a successful season. You go 2-4. That's a successful season. Not every team is going to win an NBA championship or win a Super Bowl. Don't mean that you had a fucking bad season. But to your point, when you got 5 there's an expectation that there's an expectation. But being a rich and how they start right now, dude, if you're not prepared for that season and offseason, you ain't trying.
So, right, let me see you something.
Everybody's gonna get it that, you know what? This is more than just it is. It's TV and some of my people that I got was every year. Ain't about shit this year. I don't buy anything until he shows me that he's trying to improve the team and win. Yeah. That's it.
Jerry came out and said that he don't think the team would be better excited.
That's Jerry knows. Well, I'm gonna tell you guys something too. So back,
Derek lives like up the street, right?
Yeah.
Like he lives up the street.
in 2002, we had a Here's problem, Jerry. Quincy is fucking different. Jerry didn't know about it. Once Jerry found out about it, there's a certain type of brother that Jerry wants to be in that pocket. You got to take into fact everything that Michael Irvin did, all the put up shit. There's a certain part that Jerry just don't want there. I never seen Derrick Henry do anything off the field, but if you look at like somebody like CeeDee Lamb, if we did not see Lamb, we would trade a motherfucker like him. We would. Jerry is not one of those type of players. That person, that is not your typical. That is the motherfucker you put from the crowd of people. He is not like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson will embarrass the shit out of me at a press conference. That is not. You know what I mean? So it's a different type of.
He's more manageable.
Who?
I think
No, he's polished. He's And so
Polished.
Jerry, it has that if you want to win, because like, look, I just run 9 Waffle House. Back in the day, motherfuckers with tattoos could wear tattoos very good for their sleeve. Now, I'm in corporate America. You got CEO, regular senior directors, vice president, add it up. See, so things change. Your old school beliefs, you got to change. You got to change. So if the Cowboys change, we're gonna be which is complacent. We're just gonna be a business. We're not trying to get to the next level.
That's what I want to hear right
We're just
there.
gonna be a business. All
And
right.
I think that's the most gratifying thing for him as an owner. He's more concerned with being a successful businessman versus being a successful football team.
Yeah.
Organization. Yeah.
And generally, he's looked at as one of the few owners that he's so invested in the team. Like you don't see Robert Kraft. You see him at all games, but you don't see him sitting there telling Belichick, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." He just sat back. He hired somebody that he trusted and said, "Hey, I'll own it and I'll write the checks." But I'm going to let some. The problem is he's too invested.
No.
Yeah, but he's invested in, like you said, for a different reason. He's invested in what's going to make the team the most money, as opposed to I need to be invested in who's actually the best player. Anybody who didn't think that Derrick Henry was instantly going to improve the Cowboys' running game was crazy.
Yeah.
Knowing what you had in the stable for this season.
Yep.
It was basically nothing. Yeah.
I know you're watching the pro. You got any surprises for the NFL season so far? Surprise any?
Oh, here it is.
Or one surprise, one disappointment.
The Jets are a disappointment to me. I apologize. I drafted Aaron Rodgers in my league. I thought he was. And Brees Hall. Brees Hall was like a top 4 pick in most people's fantasy league, and he's just Alvin. I'm going to say the early surprise of the season was the Saints. They've since trailed off.
Real.
And same with Tampa Bay. The big surprise is Minnesota. Yeah, just because you had Sam Darnold, everyone kind of forgot about. You know, I think it just went to.
With Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's going to be like it needs to be.
Yeah. Detroit, you could easily do it.
So he said yesterday, Minnesota will always be Minnesota. They're going to disappoint the same old thing you project what they're going to do at the end of the year because of what they did.
So I thought losing Kirk Cousins, TJ Hawkinson being out for the early part of the year, I thought Minnesota would take a step back.
Well, look at who they had last year. Who's the quarterback for Minnesota? No. The other guy who came and he won when they coming in. The ball hit it last year.
Josh Dobbs?
Yeah. Quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Thinking about
Last 2 years, Detroit is still who they are. You don't know what they're going to do.
Detroit could easily be in that conversation but they weren't a surprise.
Yes,
They were a surprise. You knew, that team was going to be good.
What about
And I told you that Jameer Gibbs, I'm saying, he's this man ball.
it's still 50% carry, bro.
Yeah, but I think Jameer Gibbs is good. The more touches he gets, I think the more explosive he becomes.
We love it. Well, they're also using like they used to mark the ball. You get more into the passing game so we can get both of them.
Playmakers in space.
Fucking right.
That playmakers in space is the name of football these days.
So I have a bet. I'm gonna keep throwing this bet out. Right? Dude was a Chicago Bears fan.
Can I retract my disappointment? I forgot to put Chicago.
Go ahead.
Can I compound that by saying that I thought the best quarterback out of the draft was not Caleb Williams?
I think we've had this argument many times.
I called that.
We did. You have been fighting about that for a while.
And I said, and my premise for saying it was, name me one USC quarterback outside of Carson Palmer that was a successful
And
quarterback.
really, Carson Palmer. And that's here.
That's the issue.
Hey, you're in the league.
You don't have to tell me about the argument that I make against a lot of my USC fans. And I say that your quarterbacks every single year are overhyped.
Mark Sanchez.
John David Booty, Cody Kessler. Cody Kessler.
David had some hype people coming out of this.
Is that what Mark came from?
That line, throw him in there. But you don't need to tell the guy from Los Angeles who went to a rival Pac-12 school that USC cannot produce quarterbacks. And despite them having for many years the modern day USC pipeline, they had USC the Los Angeles connection, and they dominated Southern California for a long, long time. If you got that phone call or that package that says, "Hey, we want to play for USC," it almost wasn't that. The giant pile of money.
I like what you referred to.
So do you think it's the program? Like, would you pass up on a good-looking quarterback just because he's coming out of the USC?
No, but I think we actually need to take a look at players themselves and not where they come from. I would say the same argument can be made for Ohio State. Is that players who come from Ohio State are very. I understand that they have had a lot of great wide receiver success, but their quarterback success is Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, J.T. Barrett, Braxton Miller, all these guys. Their last 5 quarterbacks were all a choice. They were all first round picks.
First was in the early 2000s.
So the problem is they're not looking at just like Alabama quarterbacks. Look at how much talent you have on those teams. Is it really the quarterback, or is it the fact that every single player on that field is a 4- or 5-star player for potential first-round quarterback, making you look really good? You can't run cover Marvin Harrison because you got 3 other first-round wide receivers on the outside.
Juniors and seniors.
You got to protect had Buka, you had Smith and Jigba, you had Marvin Harrison, you had Chris Olave, or Wilson. It's like there's so much talent spread around. You're being protected by offensive linemen who are going to be first, second round picks. And we're not developing anybody. Let's talk about that these big programs develop anybody.
Right.
These big programs recruit well. You know, is anybody sitting there saying that, oh, Jeremiah Smith right now is one of the best wide receivers in the country for Ohio State, is developed at Ohio State? He was like the number one player in high school. We all kind of expected that this guy was going to be a superstar.
At Alabama kid too.
Ryan Williams, that was like the number 2 receiver in the country. The bull's eye on the target is pretty big when you have players like that. But that was the thing with USC. It's for a long time they were kind of in this ballpark of Ohio State with talent. They had 4 or 5-star players everywhere, and it kind of fills in the cracks and crevices of the inefficiencies of your game when oh look, I can turn the ball. I can flip back to the running back. He's being guarded by, or being protected by a tremendous offensive line. And look, all of a sudden he gets a 60-yard play out of nowhere because he's 5-star running back.
And that's just something you're bringing up the topic that me being, young, wise, smooth, sports,
Self-proclaimed.
cool, but about 15 years ago,
Now,
I was arguing.
He said what he's
I'm
done.
looking for
I argue that certain players, when they have other great players around them, it makes them look better, right? It isn't that you're making the team better. It's like me, I go in with Steve Mills, Sean, you, and try to football. I'm a quarterback, right? We play on different tracks. You know what I'm saying? Well,
give us some credit.
not just people that
You didn't name me, so I got picked up by another team.
So y'all saying if I go get some all-stars, it wouldn't be easier for me than playing with y'all?
No. Okay, so
You know what I'm saying?
I think what you
I see where you're going. So you put this on earlier. Here's the thing. Once you transition to the league, right? And you have a great player. Yeah, great player. We can talk about great running back. That running back that was so great in this system may not be shit in that system. Now, I love the Saquon Barkley and they're here doing right now. Because I hope that these guys who we said veterans, running back,
Not just these 5 years, you pick them up for their option and then dump them.
Yeah. You look at it, but even when with a shitty ass team, we would have what they have right now. Hopkins, okay? You know they Kansas City is for nothing. And an elite receiver is going to stay an elite receiver until he gets 2 or 3 rounds. You know, and you got a big body like him. You can put him into a black hole like Tennessee. But when you take the guys out, it's like A.J. Brown. He's going to see who he's really is,
I would like to see. I think obviously sports are a business, right? So these big universities have. You see it with the bias in college football playoff, right? It was always an Alabama bias. There was always an Ohio State bias. We're always trying to make arguments. They put butts in seats. They put butts in front of the TV. So I think their players, like the rest of their team, it's a business, right? Well, we keep Ohio State in business because that's good for our business. We got to keep Alabama in business because that's good for our business.
Appreciate y'all tuning in, man.
Get a lot of the good players to come to these schools because it just turns out that, oh, look at this program, watch this program, watch this program. Ohio State's I think the biggest estimated fan base in all of college football. And I'll say I see Ohio State fans, jerseys, hats, everything. Chunks. So it is what it is. I'm not a big fan of Ohio State, but I have to give them credit for the brand that they built. And they get a lot of bias, and I think that not only does the team itself get biased with the logo, but the players that they produce. I don't think necessarily they are always just hearing.
You say something about it. Yeah, let's go blue.
That's just that's the reality of college football.
Yeah.
Is that the programs more or less make the logos that they play for more or less. Really, who's the best quarterback comes from a big program?
That's a big program.
I would say big program like your traditional blue blood.
He didn't come from a big
The last one was Tom Brady.
Oh, he said the best.
Oh, no. It was like the last good one coming from a really big program.
And when he drafted really low,
6th round.
okay, not this year.
Who right now is
Who's that? Bad.
who's arguably like the number one quarterback in the league right now?
Josh Allen.
Stop. Mahomes. Jimmy is not the best quarterback in the league.
Mahomes is the best quarterback.
He's playing like it.
He's playing well for a rookie.
He's like he's the greatest rapper of all time. His body of work is not enough for him to be the best quarterback.
Where did he come from? Texas Tech, right?
Yeah.
Not a, I'm going to say a traditional blue blood school.
Right.
Josh Allen, where did he come from? Wyoming.
Yeah.
Not a big time school, right? But it's, you think of, why all of a sudden Lamar Jackson, Louisville? Again, these are, they're not nothing schools, but they're not in the realms of like Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama. There's tiers in college football. But Louisville, Wyoming, and Texas Tech have produced, I would say, the top 3 quarterbacks of the last 5 years. Or I guess the top 3 quarterbacks in the league right now are not coming from your Alabamas or Ohio State or Michigan. They just are. He needs to be on the field first. But we'll see. We will see.
Availability is best in the league.
So Jay Daniels, you were saying, he didn't. I know he had success at LSU, but where did he go to start? Arizona State. Like, not again.
It wasn't that good at Arizona State.
Oh,
I got one.
But he was.
I got one. Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
What about? Best quarterback.
So what you got Daniel Jones, you have Aaron Rodgers, Powell, you got Jared Goff and Powell. Like you really look at like the quarterbacks, they're not coming from the big time schools. And I won't throw my alma mater into this because it's very hard to be unbiased, but I look at the Justin Herbert draft class. He got picked behind Tua Tagovailoa. Tua had like 4 major injuries. He was undersized. He's what, 5'10" or 5'11". He's shorter than I am. 6 feet. So he was undersized. He had extensive injury history, but he played for Alabama. As opposed to Justin Herbert, that was a 3.5-year starter, and the only injury he had was a broken collarbone. That's not normally seen as.
Flores, right? Instead of 2, I think. Ron Flores, he was in my.
Here's a guy who's 6'5", like 230 with a cannon.
Yeah.
And he had 3.5 years of great play at school that most of
Well, it's another one.
I mean,
He's brought something up. Great point about going to a big school. What did you
San Diego State.
was North Dakota State? South Dakota State, North Dakota State.
And what was it? Body of work in college. I think it was very minute. He had a good season, just like I said, this is Daniels, right? And this is him in college. And the rest of them just fall out. Dude, just the fact that they drafted that guy the way they did, and they had expectations of him starting leading the team. You can't, unless the guy has led a team, like you say, 3 years in college. Now, let's do talent testing. I don't care what your talent level is. When you get out there, that's why I'm so see what Tom Brady does
with the Raiders.
I'm gonna believe that she just don't want the quarterback to survive.
He doesn't like it.
Oh.
Because there's no more programs. There's no more development.
Really?
Yes.
There's no more development.
No, when they got real, who said that they lost out with somebody? Who's ready? He was like, we got to ready back. Oh, they going to take out Alabama. They were like, let him go, but we got Tom Brady back.
I mean, if you look at there really is no more development. Your top 5 to 7 teams in the NFL are usually needy because in the NFL, if you have a solid quarterback or a top tier quarterback, he makes a lot of people around him better. So when you get picked up in the first, 5 to 7 picks, you're generally expected, hey man, we need you to come in here and be the savior of our franchise. Is that fair to put on it? Is that, I'm not saying a kid, but is that fair to put on a kid who's not even acclimated to the speed of the NFL?
They have been teams his whole life. Yes. Let's go.
It still is. I think Caleb Williams is showing people that there's a difference in speed between the NFL and college. Despite playing at a good college, despite playing against top tier talent. Now, what he did against top tier talent is why I wouldn't have picked him number 1 overall anyway. But there's a learning curve in the NFL, and I think you see is people are more successful when they have time to sit and adjust. Jordan Love, Utah State, right? Not a powerhouse program, but he came out last year and after sitting for 4 years and all out.
You knew what to do behind the scenes already.
He learned from somebody who was doing it.
I thought this was all land.
That's 4 years of 17 reps against NFL talented players. Because what is the NFL if not an all-star game for college players?
Right.
It is the best of the best in college. And then some, because you get some people like that.
I like the
I mean, you got Derrick Henry. How do you prepare for trying to tackle that man?
You go low.
Somebody ball against them last night, which was incredible.
They did really good.
That was the game, bro. Like, you ball
Still lost.
Hold up. It wasn't because of that. It was the referees. Because for my understanding, any contact would make us play. Right? Pretty much. So, I mean, he was playing obvious. And the back judge's responsibility is to watch for the captain of the quarterback. What was he looking at?
We've seen a few great missed calls this year.
What about that?
And in particular, the Kansas City games. I mean, it's
The Kansas City game. Anytime he's on the line, you do not touch him.
Patrick Mahomes has had like 17 interceptions all back.
That was a false start on that catch. A man called on the 1 yard line. That was a false start.
Those penalties were all
And it was
sides
like
of
a
it,
step and
bro. The one where he has, like 17, penalties called, interceptions called back. Most of them, like, it would be like an offside or something like that. And he's testing, he's going for it. Just throwing in there, it's going to get called back. And they said that Josh Allen has actually thrown more, had more of his called back over that time. Just hasn't thrown the ball as much as Mahomes, percentage-wise. Now, I am not defending any of this. I believe it's bullshit.
Well, at some point, there's no longer a coincidence, right?
Kelsey called that ball on 1 yard.
Sure.
That was it. Right, yeah. That was a false start.
This was the play striking kids' phones into the ground.
Oh, I did the same thing. I did the same thing. Yeah. Right, you ain't gotta respect me, but don't disrespect me.
Right there.
I whipped out the pile of cash that he had in his pocket, whipped out 1,000, thrown it out. Here you go.
Nobody gonna win the ball like that again.
But I mean, it's every single week you are looking at another game-altering play, or game-altering miscall in the Kansas City game. It's too much that it's not coincidental.
Yeah.
And again, I'll go back to my argument that sports are a business. And right now, Kansas City business is a boom.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to play more of them. I don't know if that's Taylor Swift effect or whatnot.
It is. Shout out to the Swifties. Swifties. And my big girl was the president of the Little William High School Swifties.
I will say
It's really yesterday.
I will say that they have done a good job of not showing her as much. I think she was more or less detracting from the. I think she's when the whole like fake breakup thing was coming out. It's like, okay, like is this really a script? Like
Right.
people started to believe this might be a script.
In any case, the fact that they're dating has made a Kansas City team alive. Because you got Swifties that buy jerseys and no jerseys. It looks sad.
Taylor Swift on that.
Is that officially licensed?
Probably not, but I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
it's high. They're gonna go buy the real. You
You know what? If I was DeAndre Swift, I'd demand to be traded. Why?
Let me get there.
Throw my number away.
Matter of fact, all this Swifty thing, we need to talk about that.
But sports are a business, right? So Kansas City's business is booming.
And entertainment, bro.
Yeah, it's in the NFL's best interest to have them, I say that, Kansas City, near the top of the league. Same thing with college, your big time programs. It's beneficial for college football to have the big time programs at the top of the pecking board because it's selling. So Kansas City getting the benefit of the doubt on almost every major call is not a surprise.
Yeah, but it values and improves the authenticity of the game itself.
But fortunately, money takes
Business.
business.
I said about being a Cowboy fan and not winning the Super Bowl in this home, but we had to that's a reason. We may not be there, but we're still a good team.
Still the most valued sports franchise in all of professional sports. That star is synonymous with money.
Yeah. Call it what you like.
My argument still remains that as a fan, we get no involved when these businesses are making. We don't cheer for the dollars that they have provided to bring and give them dollars. We want them to win. So we can have something to brag. You know what I'm saying? On football.
And it's funny that sports we are so heavily invested and so passionate about, but yet we can decide who we cheer for. I don't know if anybody here is laced them up for a team. I'm just saying.
If you don't know about my best companies and still brain,
A lot of the schoolyard.
Spring Creek Scorpions, man, look me
It's
up.
the one person's eyes.
How great,
So I'm like, none of us have laced it up for a team. So the fact that we say we about things when it comes to our sports teams, like we are the
It's that passion. Cowboys lose on Sunday.
I mean, the team you get thrown out.
I call them on Tuesday, and you talk to them on Wednesday, don't say shit about that.
He'll talk to you on Saturday.
They gonna be right.
That's why I love Jets fans. That's why I love Jets. Why, bro? Because they're still super passionate about it, but it's like everyone knows. Come on, everyone knows. It's okay. It works.
Being a Jets fan in the line.
A Jets fan or a Lions fan?
The Giants have Super Bowls from.
They got something.
Yeah, but the Jets, they've been the
See, but that's like the Clippers. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
Clippers versus
okay.
Lakers.
Okay.
You in that same market. The people don't feel they don't. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll talk to you about LA professional sports, and I'll always say that LA is the worst sports fan ever because LA is a winner's town. Chargers and Rams. Rams play in the same building. Rams tickets more expensive because they won recently. Well, they have more of a tradition of winning than the Chargers do. Clippers and Lakers, same building. Until this year. Lakers tickets, 3 times the price. When you go into the Staples Center, crypto.com, whatever, you look up at all these championship banners, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for this. So Clippers tickets, they used to give that stuff away. Unless they were playing the Lakers, and then people just bought cheaper Clippers tickets. They'd have to pay for the price of the Lakers tickets.
Oh, he's from LA, so he would know. Yeah.
And I worked at LA Pro Sports. So then you go to like Kings Stadium, right at Staples Center. Prior to 2012, when they won the first Stanley Cup, they were giving away tickets. They win the Stanley Cup, now all of a sudden it's $250 for a nosebleed ticket. It's a winner's USC, UCLA. I'll even go to fan bases that have like college fan bases that have like pro fan bases. USC could by far away LA's college team because they have success. Right. UCLA hasn't won a title since like '54. Yeah. So no celebrities are going to the Rose Bowl to watch UCLA play. They're going to the Coliseum to watch USC play. Right. The Dodgers and Angels. I know Anaheim is not LA as much as they try and call themselves the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Anaheim isn't even in LA County. That's like Fort Worth calling themselves the Dallas. The Cowboys play in Arlington. They call themselves the Dallas Cowboys.
So there was a player.
Okay.
This because she couldn't stand Jerry Jones. Right? Jerry wanted to build a stadium downtown. Yeah. One of the stadium downtown. Okay. She all over. So Arlington got all that.
She's the mayor of Dallas.
She's the mayor of Dallas. Okay. And so now Arlington got everything in Texas time, everything that comes everything that comes with that press start bar. They got to it was personal. Hey, where's your right now?
TikTok this weekend.
No one knows.
And look, they put the Rangers right. They made
the Texas line. Man, it's just crazy.
If they could prove if they moved the Dallas Stars right over there, man, they would have a heck of a sports team.
So I got a question since we're back in the Cowboys.
Let me see.
And I said something a couple months ago, as a matter of fact. I said that Michael Hart was going to be out. As he should. Deion Sanders' son will be drafted as the quarterback. College. And Deion will eventually be the coach. So, Michael Hart. And he's your thoughts on that.
So I think no matter what happens this year, Deion Sanders will not be the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes next year. I think either Mike Norvell is going to get fired from Florida State, and I think Deion would be the prime candidate there, no pun intended, or he will. I don't know if he would go straight to the Cowboys head coach.
Okay.
I could see him being a part of the franchise.
And what's that?
I don't know.
You can't bring them in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the reason I say this, he's the
I hope it happens.
That's why I say that.
They get one more game.
No. They play Tech.
They don't go and because I think the name of the speaker. Coach of the year.
Okay.
As somebody that where his program was, where his program is.
Okay. College football to me is my sport. Colorado. And I am not a hater on Colorado. People have tried to argue. I've great facts. I don't just talk out of the side of my neck. Colorado, their schedule this year is weak. They're in the Big 12, sure. All of the best schools in the Big 12, they will not play. They don't play BYU. They don't play Iowa State. They don't play Arizona State. They lost to Kansas State. one of their 2 losses. They lost to Nebraska. So the best team that they lost to, they beat Baylor on Hail Mary. And I argued, again, I went to Oregon. I have to give my credit. They played 3 games last year to start the season that this started this hype train for Colorado. They played TCU, a team that lost by 60 points in the national title, and then lost all of their NFL talent. So nobody thought that TCU last year was going to come in and be this world beater team, despite making it to the national championship game. They got embarrassed by Georgia, and then they lost a bunch of talent to the league. Colorado comes in and beats them, and anybody and everybody was looking for a reason to cheer for Colorado.
But see,
Yes.
so as compared to where they were,
Hold on. So then they played Nebraska in Colorado, and people were thinking they beat Nebraska of the early 2000s. And I
Or
think
was it still Nebraska?
no, it was Nebraska last year, which was terrible.
But it's still the brand.
They beat a brand.
Yeah.
They didn't beat a good team. They beat a good brand from the 1970s all the way to like the early 2000s. Then they played Colorado State, and it took 3 overtimes to beat a Mountain West school in your home building.
Well,
Again, and then they played Oregon and got boat raced. They almost got shut out. So they played a good team and they got embarrassed. And they won 1 more game the rest of the season. Yeah, they Oregon.
Oregon is the number 1 team in the nation.
Last year.
But I mean, top what?
But what I'm saying is there was levels to it. So Dion, again, we're not going to talk about that. This is not the same program before Deion Sanders came in. Because this man is recruiting like a big time program. It's no secret that you recruit top tier talent, and your team is going to get that. Considering Colorado was not in the market for 5-star players. You get the number 1 player in high school football in Travis Hunter, your team is going to get better. Shedeur Sanders is throwing the ball a million times a game, and against, I'm going to say, inferior competition, he's putting up great numbers.
I don't know. That's watering down his ability.
If I put him at a bigger school, if I put him in Oregon, dude, he's going to have to have numbers. I think he's good at quarterback. And then you talk about Travis, who would they keep getting ride out other than Deion? No,
So that was a 2-way player in high school.
but once you get to college, there's no exceptions. You got who's the best to do it in the leagues?
Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers probably was one of the last. He played all 3 ways. He was like Dion.
Yeah.
Because they had him returning kicks.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys who played both ways, but not to the level that Travis Hunter is. Are we thinking that Dion is maybe putting him in on both sides? He's a tremendous talent. Again, we talked about Jeremiah Smith, and we were like, okay, was anybody not thinking this guy was going to be good? Did anybody not see Travis Hunter's high school tape? Like, was anybody sitting there and going, this guy's not going to be a good player? So you put him in positions to make plays, he's going to make plays. That guy's a freak athlete. He's Saquon Barkley when it comes to a freak athlete. They're built.
Is he a Heisman candidate? Would he win the Heisman?
I don't think so. I think, again, we'll go back to Colorado's strength of schedule. I think Colorado's playing good football. Deion Sanders, coach of the year over Indiana's head coach, is crazy. Everybody expected Oregon's head coach to do well. He's guys like 31-5. Like, the guy's like successful. He's on a good team. They were projected to be near the top of the country. Nobody expected Indiana. And this dude came out of nowhere. He's leading it. They're the number 2 team in the Big Ten over Michigan, over Ohio State. Like, they're a legit team.
when we talk
Indiana.
yeah, man.
Cincinnati, I think his name is.
Right. When you were talking earlier, and we were talking about the new program, you still wrote it down. At the end of the day, it's just like NFL. College right now, those names, it's all brand.
Yeah. Deion Sanders is brand.
He's the ultimate brand.
He is the ultimate brand that way.
Yeah.
And I think we're not looking at Colorado. Is Deion Sanders truly transforming a program because of his coaching or is his recruiting?
I think it's a combination of both.
It is. I mean, obviously, you're gonna recruit, and your coach is generally hey, this is my vision for the team. But how many of the kids that he's recruiting want to come? Hey, man, your vision for the program is what makes me want to come play for you, as opposed to the money, the dollars, the popularity.
What was the young kid's name that he transferred in last year? No, he was a freshman. Cornerback. The next, well, he was nice. He was supposed to be like the next draft cornerback. Just leave.
Corbin McLean.
Yes. And I respect the fuck out the fact that Prime never gave him playing time because he was not disciplined. You know, to behind the scenes, he wasn't disciplined in the playbook. He wasn't disciplined with his classes. I respect it because I guess where I'm going with this right here. And this is how I look at coaching a year does. But I love the fact that he's teaching these young men how to be successful in life. And then you know, some programs, it's strictly about your fucking talent. They don't care if you done assaulted this person over here. You still we're gonna cover that shit up. You still gonna play Saturday.
I'm sorry, we're both talking about Georgia, right?
Yeah.
We're both talking about Georgia. Okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, so it's almost like and I don't think he will be, like I said, in Colorado next year, wherever, depending on where his son goes, where he's going to go. But there's still possibilities.
If Shiloh Sanders, they're still talking about Shiloh Sanders getting drafted in like the high of the draft. And I'm like, I saw that man get embarrassed. Yeah. I'm like, I saw that man get embarrassed. That man was on his butt the entire game when he tried to come back. Shiloh Sanders. So this is back to the original argument. Are we evaluating the players based on the talent they have, or are we looking at names or where they came from? It's Shedeur Sanders, because I've heard it since the beginning of this year that he's like QB1. I heard the same thing about Miller Moss from USC. Everyone's, Lincoln Riley saying that Miller Moss is the smartest, best quarterback he's ever worked with. I'm like, you're already hyping up USC quarterbacks. And now we'll look at Miller Moss, and the team's 4-5, and he's going to probably get pulled because he's not actually that good. But that was the hype going into the season. The hype going into the season is that Shedeur Sanders was going to be like a 1-2 pick, him and Travis. So Travis Hunter, I can see because he's a two-way player. He will not do that in the NFL. No. They might do that almost as a
I agree with you. He's going to fight for us.
Don't do that. The problem is that's not good for the longevity of your career. And
you're not getting paid for both sides. You're not getting paid the DB money and the wide money. And you're getting paid for both sides. Young man can go do this shit.
And there might be some trick plays. There might be some gimmicky games where you play both ways. But I think when your talent level increases, and again, look at Colorado's strength of schedule over the last 2 years, both in the Pac-12 and the Big 12. The talent level is not what he's going to face in the NFL. So I would bet on his freakish athletic ability that he will be a tremendous player in the NFL. If I were him, I would go corner.
Yeah,
I would go corner. I think that the talent pool at corner is less. I think the money is almost equal. And I think your career longevity is higher.
Yes, and then you can get him in there, same way they had Dion in there on the off-field plays here and there.
So would he be equivalent to a Darrell Williams?
I think so. Darrell Williams made all of his money pretty much on like 1 or 2 years. Yeah, that Revis Island year where he's doing it's like Andre Johnston. What is it? No, was it Andre? Andre Hopkins. I think I'm learning my years here.
I put him more of a Jalen type.
Yeah.
Travis?
Yeah. I think he's confident.
That's it.
Okay, young Jim.
Yes.
Okay, young Jim.
Or like I'm just saying soft starter. I know.
Yeah.
Like a taller, rangier DB. Kyle Anderson at safety. You could even put Travis Hunter at safety.
You could.
I don't know where he's going to end up, but I would. If somebody was to say Travis Hunter is a first round pick, 100% agree with them just because of his athletic talent alone. Quarterback, you really need to dive into and go, is this guy really first round quality material. I think a lot of Shador is people just look at numbers. I think last year the best quarterback. I think the quarterback that should have won the Heisman Trophy was Michael Penix. I think Bo Nix should have been second, and I think Jaden Daniels should have been third. You have to look at team success.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels got a lot of his yardage against the FCS schools or the basically the first 3 games of the year, and then the last few games of the year, where they're really just trying to pad his stats. When he played, I'm going to say the meat of his schedule wasn't very good. So Michael Penix, when I watched him, he was successful. I didn't remember a down game for him. He just played every deep ball that man threw was right on target. I think they should have won the Bolitnikoff. They gave it to Lee Neighbors. Lee Neighbors had more yardage, despite LSU being 9-4 and not making the college football playoff. So I can put my hatred of Washington aside to say that the best 2 players in the country at those positions didn't come from LSU, they came from Washington.
This about wrapping up. Before I wrap it up,
I don't know what's happening up.
you can drop the lead, right? So you go down to the no, wrap it up.
Watch out. That does not mean that. He's bringing it to a close.
Oh, wait. I want to go through the game group this weekend. I'm telling you, we're going to win, right? You got Giants and Panthers.
I got Giants.
Sorry.
Wow. So Panthers, that's right. Patriots and Bears. It's in Chicago.
Bears.
All those are playing better.
But I think they can win on the tickets.
Okay. So 0 for 2.
49 Buccaneers.
I got
CMC's back, right?
playing, yeah. So I got 49.
It's in Tampa?
It's in Tampa.
I'm so wrong. Why
It's gonna be cold.
Okay. Broncos, Chiefs.
Broncos.
Okay.
No, Kansas City.
Oh, they're playing in Kansas
In
City.
Kansas City.
Okay, no.
Mills.
Oh,
Bills and Colts.
Bills.
All right. Steelers and Commanders. Yeah.
Ooh, Commander.
Is it in Steelers?
Then Washington.
No, Washington. Steelers.
Okay. Okay. That's
Could be.
Upset of the week?
I'm all the picks so far.
I'm with you.
confident in that.
I'm with you, but only because they're playing in Washington. Is why I'm going to Washington.
Dude, Washington is so high.
It's still
Pittsburgh, they are. Pittsburgh is still, they're still behind the move right now. But I picked Pittsburgh.
I feel you. I don't.
I see Harris 3 straight 100-yard games. Running game too.
he played a good game, right?
I feel you. Vikings and the Jags in Jacksonville.
Vikings. That's a no-brainer. I mean, if they play in the parking lot.
Vikings is the same. Somebody said the traffic game.
If the Saints had like all the players healthy,
Right.
and if that game was in New Orleans,
What are you doing?
If you were in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's in New Orleans.
But they got a different coach now, so yeah.
I don't even know who their quarterback is right now.
Well, it's not
Derek shouldn't be playing.
Is it? Oh, it's not.
All I care about what they feed Kamara the ball 300 times a game.
All right. Titans charged and then
Give me the Chargers.
I got the Chargers. So I got them in 10 games.
Just like I have no idea who their number 1 receiver is. I don't even know who he's throwing the ball to.
Harbaugh wants to run the ball, get it to the tight end. Check it out. Jets and Cardinals.
Oh, wait. No. Yeah, Jets. Sorry. Jets.
But what you looking over here for, bro? What's the issue, man? Keep looking, bro. Oh, no. He lost the bet. I gotta make sure he do. Yeah.
And I have to say, you need the Jets because they lost this game against Houston.
Yeah, they won that game, didn't
And it wasn't close.
Really? They had
So I'm just saying,
They new Jets team and what we saying that we're in the
they? What makes them
they got because they got all the pieces.
they got Devontae.
Their team is the guy. Who's the people that rolled down?
Yeah,
Jets. Yeah, had a guy that I mean, it was $7,000.
Yeah, because Darren Wilson's playing well. They got Devontae Adams. They got Brees Hall. Like, if they can finally understand that Brees Hall is a good running back, you feed him the ball. I don't think it's in the game, but feed him the ball just like Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, you spent all this money and all this draft capital on Brees Hall. You got to give him the ball.
Okay.
Devontae Adams needs double-digit targets every game. Same with Garrett Wilson.
Okay. So y'all got this. I got this.
Yeah.
Eagles.
Almost done actually.
Yeah, you already know what we got.
Look, here's my take on that.
Hold on.
There's always going to be some fucked up games in the league. That should be a slam dunk for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Before you say anything else, it may not be. Let me tell you why. Rivalry games between the two teams are always competitive.
That's why I was
Always competitive.
Except for last year, the December game.
Yeah, that you don't know what their offense is going to do. I'm right.
Cooper Rush could come out like a man possessed.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man,
I'm ready to go contract
I'm
next
trying
year.
to earn my $200 million.
It's gonna be interesting.
He can come out and
It's either gonna be close to how we're
Harper?
Yes. Between the Cowboys.
He can come out and do that shit. And he's somewhere.
Well, he understand what he has something to do for.
Yeah.
I don't think that
And he has a morale team around him.
because the team morale should be here.
Then you got defense. Defense, we got Bland Parsons coming back. Defense should be playing lights the fuck out. They should be. Bland is more players.
Okay.
Bland is more.
I ain't sold on him. He had that lucky 5-game stretch, and everybody calling him as being better than he really is.
When I look at defense in that position, I like aggression. Okay, if you're on the line, I'm not gonna get in your fucking face and not touch you. I'm gonna put my hands on you. I gotta do something to slow you down.
Sure.
Yeah.
He was that the first 5 games. The last 7 games, he was non-existent. Why? Because he's not that guy.
It's hard to say that guy can do it all.
I will certainly say
I
that
can't say not that guy.
when you have Parsons and Bland on the field, I expect the defense to improve.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to go wrong.
I got a question for you. Last year in the Green Bay game, both Bland and Parsons was on the field, right? And they got smoked.
Playoff game.
Okay,
You're not just being it.
or they on the field at the same time.
They were.
That's my point.
They're not used to being it.
It's kind of like if you sit there and talk about the Houston team, it's because they work. When you got some young ass talent going against, well, they were young too. You just don't know who's going to show up that game. You don't know. And Parsons, man, look, his ass was amped out before last couple of games of the season. So this injury may help us preserve him. So this much of a chance we got to do anything.
Well, so we haven't talked because Parsons going to get signed. Is he going to stay with Cowboys?
I don't think so.
Is he going to be on the chopping block?
I don't think so.
So how do you take Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons, and then expect to pay
You
money?
got to trade. Look. I'll make some trades and get some good ass shit. But
But he's a free agent. You know that you don't have to trade for him because you know the Cowboys aren't going to sign him.
Listen, but it's still gonna be paid on there. You can't.
He's going to try and rewrite.
There's no way you can, because we already paid Diggs. So now we're talking about him being that fourth player to basically match.
What about DeMarcus Lawrence?
No.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
There's
Where's the money going to come from?
It's not.
At what point do you make football decisions, not money decisions?
Okay, so that's where it goes back to how we started this conversation about the Cowboys. That's the decision to be made.
Say again?
Go ahead, y'all. Hold this question again. Should they go ahead and play Trey Lance?
Yeah,
I think they should.
they should. Yeah.
Yeah, they should.
So if they win, let's say they win 3 games, and they win what, 6 and whatever. Does that knock them out of the draft spot or something like that for a high draft pick? How does that work?
No.
Here's the problem with the Cowboys, and it comes down to Jerry Jones' ego of not admitting that they need to have a rebuild year. There are some.
I thought, like I said,
You need to, I care nothing about the Cowboys. That this is just me from an objective football standpoint is that every team, we were talking about it in college, that the expectation is that there's no rebuild years. And obviously in college, there's the transfer portal now, and you can kind of mitigate losing some of your best players. But where there's a salary cap and there's contracts you have to deal with in pros, pro football, you have to understand that there's going to be some rebuild years. The Cowboys last year had the best defense in the league. They had top three by most metrics. So, yes, they were completely non-existent against Green Bay, but everybody was scared to play the Cowboys last year.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't use the word
Hyperbole.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think a lot
I
of
think
people
very much not working.
Wanted to see them in the playoffs.
we wanted our remain.
Everybody wants to see them play.
the city playoffs is two different.
Everybody was seeking to play them like no.
He's not.
The part of the schedule he's talking about is the easiest part of our schedule when the defense was dominant. Nobody was scared. I was so good. There was a decent defense against last team. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So then you have players like Lamb and Dak Prescott who are having a career year.
But that's what the Cowboys do.
Not hard, but now we're to the point where Dak is not having a career year. The defense is not as good as it was. Like, there's going to be some drop off. You're going to lose players in contracts. You're going to miss out on players like Derrick Henry. Like, you know, you're not.
You didn't have to.
You didn't have to. But at this point, Jerry needs to understand that this is a rebuild year and you have to plan for your future.
And I agree with you. He was too inflated for you to even admit.
And I think he's all into paying players who are loyal. And it's people like Mike Parsons, like CeeDee, like Dak Prescott, are they? No, is Dak Prescott really worth his second mega deal contract? No.
Bullshit. I call bullshit as everybody says. I'm gonna say why I call bullshit.
Okay.
It's not about the take. It's about what the market dictates. Based on his stats, the market dictated this. And one thing I hate talking on people's money because I don't care what you make, I don't know what you make, but what you want to make more.
Always.
Everybody's going to score, but the market dictated what he was going to do. Now, if he went out this season and balled the fuck out and was doing X, Y, and Z, oh yeah, he's working on money. Well, look, you got a job, and your ass $25 an hour, paying me $25 an hour. You kicking my ass, but you know what? You're going to get the same money because that's what the market dictates.
You're only worth what someone is willing to pay you.
That would have, let's say, if the Cowboys would have decided, that could have, all the teams that talk how good they are, they love him. They love him. And that would have still got the same money. He still would have got the same money. Just because that's what the market dictates. That's it.
But the problem is, I've watched him play for many years and not deliver on the amount of money that
Trevor Lawrence.
Don't disagree.
No, but that's just to form an argument. That's still what the market dictated.
Can I ask you something about the market thing? So, this every quarterback they talk about.
They said the market.
Every quarterback, every position, highest, because you're the new. Why is that they have to be the highest paid? Instead of like, okay, maybe there's a top team, whatever. You're more so down here at the tier of, we'll say high paid. It shouldn't be every time it's always a high paid. You know what I'm saying?
So if you're basing your pay on what the market suggests, should it be at the expense of you not being able to recruit other players to complement your skill set to win?
Okay, so now you're talking about the difference between the NBA and the NFL, right? That's the owner that still makes that decision. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, you're sitting up here saying tweet. It ain't fucking tweet. I'm not making that money. I'm not cutting that damn check. You know what I mean? But that's just the damn market. And why the quarterback has it? The quarterback is the leader of that team. Like, damn, X, Y, and Z. They don't all perfect.
Again, though, all I'm asking is like when Purdy comes up, you know what I'm saying? Purdy, any quarterbacks that come up, why is it they always have to be their contracts make them almost the highest paid? You see what I'm saying? If Mahomes is the highest paid quarterback, we need to do a highest paid quarterback. Why is it every year?
Every year, that team is generating more revenue.
Right.
The wins,
No, the team itself. If you go look at your football team over the last 5 years, every year, the revenue that y'all get is more every fucking year.
Was the quarterback?
What should happen in the league is they need to open up that salary cap some more. The salary cap, if you're going to continue this trend where the top 10 wideouts, every time it's time for him to renew, he's getting paid number one wideout money. You got to change revenue. You got to change it.
so the revenue model.
The salary cap. All of these players get that fucking money. Hey, go get that shit because Lord knows you don't always be there.
Oh, there you
Go
go.
get that shit again. And as far as like you saying how Jerry likes players that are loyal to the team, he didn't get no more loyal than Emmitt Smith. And he still don't want to give him this fucking money.
They're trying to get it to mean for more.
Yes. Yes. And so now it's like I'm cool with players going somewhere else to get their money. It's all about getting it in the bag.
If I were the Cowboys, they sunk a bunch of money that handicapped them from a salary cap standpoint into a player that has not delivered the results of somebody who's commanding the money that he is. Let him go make his money somewhere else because you are not getting the job done on the field when it counts. Your stats are great. The problem is we're not winning Super Bowls. I don't like big 10-year contracts, these eight-year, like $280 million contracts, because really you're paying somebody at their prime and you're expecting that when they drop off, as all athletes do, that you're still going to be near the top. Dak Prescott is nearing the end of his career in terms of he's past his prime, but you pay him now for 4 more years at top quarterback money.
Not in years 3 and 4.
No, what I'm saying is right now, you are paying him top tier money. Like you are expecting, you're paying him, I think, the second highest annual value of his contract.
1 year.
Patrick Mahomes, I understand. His first 4 years in the league, the man had already won 2 Super Bowls and had already been in the league.
He's an anomaly, though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You want to give him 10 years, $500 million, because his first 4 years in the league, he had already been in 2 AFC title games and won 2 Super Bowls. That's wrong.
But even that, then you're not comparing apples to apples.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm good with giving him a lot of money because I feel like he is always, I think, pretty unanimously, he's the number 1 quarterback in the league right now. Even if his numbers drop off, the team does not.
He's not playing that good. He's done.
And it's still undefeated. It's all market value.
You're not good.
Dak Prescott is supply and demand. Right? He's supplying his services at a cost, and the market is demanding it. But it's only your sales price is only what someone's willing to pay for. If I'm just sitting here saying, "Hey, you might be worth $200 million," I'm just not willing to pay it. You can go make that $200 million in he could have gone to the Jets and made his $200 million. I'm not saying he's not worth $200 million if someone's willing to pay it. I just think the Cowboys needed to realize that he's not paying.
His argument is different than any of. I respect your argument. I see your argument. It's not about not being worth his money. It's about the Cowboys and what Cowboys are facing right now, whether or not they can afford to pay him that money.
And
that's the part.
So that's part of my question I was asking him, but I was asking in the wrong part of. I came back in. Same thing.
Diggs, Parsons, Lawrence, CD, Dak. You can't pay all these guys. You can't pay everybody. You can't reset the market for 5 players at their position and then expect you're going to have this tremendous amount of depth.
Okay. So that's since that's the fact and that's true. As an owner, how do you prevent organization from coming to that point where you have to make that decision?
Okay.
keep people on shorter contracts. Like, hey, I'll pay you $40 million a year, but it's going to be for 1 or 2 years. But then you're like, I'm not doing that. Okay, well then this is business. If you're not, I'll pay you #1 money for my high school classmate. This is completely off topic. My high school classmate was Trevor Bauer. Played Roger Pittman's Cy Young winner. He got screwed out of his career by a fraudulent girl, and I hate him. I hate that for him. But his whole thing was, I don't want long-term contracts. I want to go out and prove myself on short contracts, but you're going to pay me a lot of money per year. Yeah. So I'll sign a 1-year contract for $30 million. I think his contract with the Dodgers was 3 years, $100 million. He'd want to sign a young. So his whole thing was, I want to go out and prove myself every year. And that he was betting on himself that over the course of 10 years, I will make more money in multiple contracts than on one big contract that's guaranteed.
That's crazy. Like, yeah, he would make more money.
Probably would.
You make more money.
But
so one thing about having to start on your hill, and as we talk about negotiating these contracts, well, I can afford to pay you instead of paying $14 million a year. But on the back end, I got this endorsement deal that's gonna give you another $4 million.
Yep.
So we're gonna go you another $1 million. It may not be on your contract, but see, having a story deal,
you can use the brand.
Yes, you can use that brand. But it's just
So if I was to tell you, Michael Clarkson, I know he's got some attitude issues that maybe don't gel with the team and the leadership of the team. But the guy has a tremendous talent, and when he's out there on defense, he performs. We've had this argument in here before.
He performs for himself.
Yeah, he performs for the guy lights up the stat sheet at his position.
If he ran the fucking plays that are called, everybody in the team. It's look. You got to put out fucking Morris Taylor. You can't call your fucking play. I'm not saying that he can't get to that point, but right now you're not at that point, player. You're great. He's great, but he's got to stay within the defensive scheme. Because the first game he missed, I saw that. It was like, damn, they were getting after it. They were fucking hype.
Okay.
How can we be like that without a leader?
Just maybe he's not a leader.
He's not a leader, but his talent, if he's running the plays that are called, his talent is going to demand, of course, 2 people, somebody's going to get through. So my thing is, he's got to start calling something play.
So then you got Dewan Bland, you got Diggs. Like, I was fine with them paying CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb, when it comes to a wide receiver, that man is everything you could possibly want him to do. Guy catches the ball 120 times a year. Yeah. How much better do you want him? Yeah. He makes highlight reel plays. He goes out there, does his job. He's always on the field. He's seldom hurt. I'm good at giving him that money. But Dak Prescott's on his. I keep bringing it back to him because I think that's really what's hamstringing the Cowboys. Is that Jerry Jones needs to go, hey, we need to move on. We need to. Again, I understand the quarterback market's pretty small. There's a lot of people who would probably want to come and play in house. Yeah. And want to throw in with CeeDee Lamb.
If we go to, like, just look, McCarthy, he's the same motherfucker that used to get into with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was calling his own play. Dak can't call his own plays like Aaron Rodgers because of ownership. Okay? McCarthy is the fucking issue to me. He's the issue. You gotta get somebody. What's the little boy I know there? Who's the killer? You get a young offensive coordinator up in here, some things can happen, man.
Who's the OC for Cowboys?
I'm gonna say no.
It's not Kellen Moore.
No,
Ian Miller.
Or Zimmerman.
Zimmerman defense.
Yeah, but and you a little OC. It's because my head coach. Oh, it's my head coach.
I completely agree. If I heard
the head coach, he's the fucking issue. The first piece of passion I ever saw from him was when we fucked up on the 4th down play and Hurts and go out here. He go fucking iPad. First, he needs some passion. I've ever seen from him. Then he no more passion the rest of the game.
Brian shot. Yeah.
I feel bad for Marty Shaw. That had a 10-3 season. Got fired.
Yeah,
With the Chargers. For Norm Turner, the man who was no better than a 9-7 season. Marty Shaw with the
All right. Always. All right.
That's good.
absolutely.
Y'all take care.
Yes. All right, so I'm about to get out of here.
Live.
Thank you, bro.
We didn't even get to talk about the Detroit Lions.
You got a few minutes now.
I'm trying to do that.
You got a few minutes now.
I'm do that, bro.
You guys, you know what? You got to earn that.
No, we ain't.
No. To be where you are, no one gave that to you. Y'all earned that. Y'all went, and I said, remind me of something. I'm clear. This is why I like this coach.
Because they spent good money on Sewell.
This is why I like that coach.
I'm saying.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm on y'all bandwagon.
I swear to God, I believe it. If I absolutely knew we could get to where we need to get without ever putting pads on, I'd do it. I swear to you. I don't want to put anybody in jeopardy. However, I do know this. The studies say you got to get volume and you got to get intensity before a season comes. You have to. If you don't, I'm not getting you prepared, not only physically for injury, but also for us as a team to get better. Defensively, what is the essence of what we do, man? What are the two things? Pursuit and tackle. Pursuit and tackle. If you don't work on tackling, if you don't work on run after catch, making a move, man, what are we doing, man? Then we finally get to week 8 and we come to life because we got enough reps. But I'm telling you, honestly, I'm doing this because it actually does help you with injury. If we do it the right way, we're not going to do it every day. But I got a plan, I swear to you. All I think about is you guys. That's all I think about, man. That's all I think about is you guys.
That's
For the best possible. I'll say it's my swear to you, man.
So if every coach could get their players to rally around a mission that they all bought into, you would see more successful franchise. The problem is, not everyone has an agenda and not a mission.
No. You stay to mission, you get to the purpose.
And I will say this is part of. I know there are anomalies. There's Bill Belichick's, there's Andy Reid's, but this is the problem with modern day franchises is they don't have those. They don't have that. It's, now you have like your Nick Sabans, you have your Andy Reid's, you have your Bill Belichick's. Who those people can just stand in front of you, tell you what to do, and you go do it. But you need that coach that brings everybody together.
But here's what separates this coach from a lot of other coaches. He played the game at a high level. So he understands what it's like to be them.
D'Amico Ryans. Who else? Mike Vrabel.
Hold on. So, and what you saying about being ready by week 8, right? We're just practicing these things now. It is to go back to the post in which I was a dude, as a fan. I'm just a fan, bro. Who are just fans? I celebrate every little thing that the Lions do. We're 7-1 for the first time since 1957. Guess what? I'm gonna celebrate, right? 100%. If we win a division title, if we win a back-to-back division title for the first time in my life, I'm gonna celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Now, the post third was I guess he's saying that regular season didn't matter. And I told him you're a casual football. I said every game matters. I said the fucking cone drip. I said the cone drip matters. The meetings matter. If you want to be a Super Bowl, if you want to be a Super Bowl team, if you want to be Pittsburgh, if you want to be Philly one day, New Orleans, when they finally decided to get serious about football, it started at the top. They got free agency in. They got serious about the system. They got the coach. It changed. So every little thing matters if you want to be a champ. And so I'm excited because I'm glad you played that. But when I first heard the man talking about decaps and coming out with nothing and all that, it resonated with me because I'm like I'm an underdog, like whatever. But it resonates in order to find out of those situations. You gotta get out of the woe is me phase and the cream phase, the against phase, and say I'm going to do this and make it. Yes, you need more like that.
Yeah, you need that guy that will rally his team, but it needs to be built on a solid message.
I can name one
A
more
winning
coach.
culture.
I can name one more coach out of the NFL that's like him. Name one. I got one for you. Dion. Dion's like that.
Oh,
You listen to his like when he took like the way he's brought the organization up from out of the grave. He's resurrected that program because he's got buy-in from the players who are on that team in that system.
I hear you. I hear you, but I think the message, I think the way he conveys it, like to me, when I listen to Dan Campbell, he talks to everybody. Like anybody will want to ride out with Dan Campbell.
Right.
With Neon, now people aren't like, okay, we see you because it's coming from, we kind of see a little success. But it's not because everybody's like, oh, I want to ride with me. That's like, even me, like I'm reluctantly saying that Neon is okay. I see them doing better. It's not. He doesn't grab me like that. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I hear you.
But I people know what you mean about like he does motivate certain people with that kind of talk. You know what I'm saying? But it's not.
There's still a lot of
universal.
There's still a lot of people who will argue that a lot of it is just about Dion.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in the entire country would sit there and say that Dan Campbell is about himself.
Yeah, Dion is more.
So Dion might be considered white collar, and Dan Campbell was like blue collar.
What I'm looking for though is there's still a lot of
more relativity from a guy like Dan Campbell because, as they say, came out. Whereas Dion is polished.
Dion is using himself to propel the program.
Yes.
I mean, what is their slogan?
He's right.
What is their slogan of Colorado? I'm not hard to find. I'm not hard to take.
Point.
I ain't hard to find. They put that on shirts.
I know.
Colorado's not hard to find. I'm not.
But the message was individual, right? Because everything starts with the individual.
The team. I mean, I'll from Michigan. That's what our logo is.
I am sorry.
The team.
Thank God that I didn't get the gentleman's name who was sitting right here, but he came out and said that he was like, Coach Prime is, getting these kids, ready to, he's, disciplined. He's not playing Cormani McClain just because he's a 5-star player. He's getting ready to the real world. Thank God you're doing your job. You are a father figure to these kids. Your job is to make these kids be. First of all, they have a great opportunity to get free college, to make money while they're in college. So you're going to walk out of here an educated and rich person. I'm not sorry. Rich is not the term. It's not everybody.
I hate that. Like as we talk about what he's doing is good.
It's good.
I don't want to make it seem like it's like I said it this time. I don't like the way Deion moves. Even though he's always been my favorite like athlete as far as on the field.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. He rubs me the wrong way. You know what I mean? He seems arrogant. He seems it's all about him. He seems pompous. He seems
about his kids.
And there's nothing Jackson Hunter. It's nothing wrong about him, going to his kids. But again, don't make it seem like it's other things when it's all about what it is.
So again, I talk about the things I know well. Look up Ducks vs. Them podcast and listen to Dan Lanning. His last press conference when he left Michigan is, Like, man, I love this team.
Mhm.
Like, I love those players. He does, like, people ask him about, oh, what do you think of Dylan Gabriel? It's like, it's time that the country realizes what a special quarterback we have.
Different.
He's not out there campaigning for Travis Hunter or he's not out there campaigning for Dylan Gabriel to win the Heisman Trophy. It's, man, I love these quote unquote. How many people get to go to their job and love everybody that they work with? That's the type of coach and that's the type of culture. Is you're seeing the same buy-in with Oregon as you're seeing with Detroit. You're getting people who want to come and play for your culture. And that is more important than having a few select players that are making your team, I'm going to say, popular. Because what happens when Dion leaves?
Yeah, that's what I wonder.
He's not going to stay the rest of his career in Colorado. What's going to happen when he leaves? Is that program going to be better off? Or is everyone just going to go, I'm not going to play for Colorado anymore because I'm not going to get the hype and the notoriety of playing for Dion?
Well, he said he was telling Jackson that he was showing him how to do it.
He was just, it goes back to the argument of resetting the market, right? Dion said that he could have stayed at Jackson State, and he could have said, hey, I'm going to build these HBCU programs. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to show people they don't have to go to Alabama. They don't have to go to, Ohio State. They can come here and play for me. And, we're going to level up this program. And the second thing he got a chance, he left.
Yeah.
The second he got a chance,
No. He didn't just leave.
he took Travis.
They did terrible for the state.
Who is this?
Yeah.
You know that he's
Is that what he said, or is that whatever? He took the best player in the country, which he was showing, hey, you can recruit the best player in college football to your school despite it not being a blue blood program.
Okay, so they weren't recruited because of the blue blood program. They were recruited because of brand prime time.
100%. But then the second he gets a chance, he sits there and basically leaves them high and dry, takes all of the stuff that he brought to the school and left. And I think if I will just say if the Florida State job comes open, he'll do the same thing to Colorado. Because it's about Deion Sanders. That's the unfortunate reality. It's not even an unfortunate reality. That's the reality of sports business. That everybody's out to make money. He's out trying to get his kid paid in the league. He's trying to get Travis Hunter paid in the league.
Just like his kid.
He's trying to get himself better positioned. He doesn't need more money, but that's neither here nor there. Because everyone can go out and make as much money as they want. But he's positioning himself for a better head coaching job. Colorado is not a bad head coaching job.
It's a stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone, especially if a team like Florida State or the Dallas Cowboys open up. He's not going to stay in Colorado.
I went on record. I'm going to say that Dallas Cowboys next head coach.
Very well could be.
Saying they might draft Shadur.
But here's the problem.
That either.
But here's the problem. Is he a good enough head coach to make a wildly large? You're going.
I mean, yes.
What is the same argument I have for quarterbacks being like, oh, this guy's just a first ballot Hall of Fame, not first ballot Hall of Fame, first round draft pick, just because he has a good year at a big time school does not instantly make that person a first round caliber quarterback. And this person is QB1, Caleb Williams, and won the Heisman Trophy. The second the man beat Texas in that Red River rivalry game, he was already being looked at as a top 5 pick, and his performance for the rest of his college career could not change.
And I'm going to go and say this. Whoever drives the outcome, who drives the narrative?
It's
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
No, not McVay. Elkhart and is it McVay?
It might be. It's not Sean McVay.
No.
It's another
Well,
McVay.
him, yeah. Those people and sports center, especially, they drive the narrative, right? And when they drive the narrative, they're already predicting an outcome.
Because we don't look at sports anymore. Sports is entertainment, right? But we're always trying to take these like deep dives into like some philosophical realm of let's find underlying stories about things. It's like, how about we just focus on the sports? But ESPN,
If they didn't do that,
ESPN
would it be that
is-
interesting? If they didn't do that, would it still be interesting? They've got to, my point is, they've got to do that.
Yeah, I think sports themselves are interesting enough. And like my favorite things are 30 for 30s because it's